Hey, how's it going? Dave2D here, and in front of me is a laptop that will turn you into an MLG pro gamer. This is the ASUS 703 SCAR, and they have two variants to this product. So this is the SCAR version that's geared towards first-person shooter games, and then they have something called the Hero Edition, which is geared towards MOBAs, so things like Dota and League. But I'm more interested in first-person shooters. I'm just better at those types of games, so I was interested in this particular variant. Now, the thing that makes this thing special, the thing that makes this a first-person shooter-oriented device, is entirely the screen. Now, when you look at the hardware, I've done a review of its smaller brother, the 15-inch 503, and surprisingly, the components are very similar. Like the build quality, the keyboard, even the battery size is like almost identical. So I'm not going to do a full review of this device because I've basically done the full review. I'm going to focus mostly on the screen, but I'm just going to go through, I guess, its main components just in case you guys are curious. Okay, let's start with the keyboard. Pretty good keyboard, nothing super special about it. Good layout, roomy with RGB lighting, but the keys are a little bit softer than you might expect. The trackpad uses Windows Precision drivers, so you'll probably like it. The keyboard deck is this like faux carbon fiber finish. It's not real carbon fiber, obviously, at least not at this price point, but I think it looks nice, and I guess everyone's gonna be a little bit different, but I think it's a nice design overall. One thing you'll notice is that there isn't a single drop of red on this entire laptop when it's off. When it's on, there's like a red power button, and I guess the top logo lights up red, but it's a really kind of plain looking laptop, which I like. I think this is a nice transition away from the classic Republic of Gamers thing that ASUS has done in the past, like just red everywhere. I like this, and I think next year we're just gonna see even more not super red laptops, which is great. The build quality on this thing, really good. $1,600 for a gaming laptop is certainly not cheap, so you expect good build quality, and they deliver. The one thing that I don't love about this in terms of the build quality, the build in general, is that the bottom panel is very difficult to open. I had this problem with the 503 as well. There's a hatch that you can get into just for the necessities like the RAM and the storage and stuff like that, but if you want to access the fans or the Wi-Fi card or just stuff that's inside, this bottom panel is not easy to remove. There's screws, they come off, but it's just a pain. Now, the laptop has 16 gigs of RAM pre-installed. You can easily upgrade it to 32 by adding a single stick. The fans are definitely audible, but they don't get too loud in game, and thermal performance is not bad as well. You can definitely play for extended periods of time without issues. The battery life on this laptop isn't great. It's a 64 watt-hour battery, and I'm only getting around 2.5 hours of battery life with the screen at 250 nits. Now, there are devices with a 17-inch screen that have like 99 watt-hour batteries, but the reason why this one is short, well, as short as it is mostly because of the screen. So this screen is the main attraction of this laptop, and the reason why I'm even doing this video is because I think that this is one of the most impressive screens I've seen on a 17-inch device. So it's a 120 hertz panel, and it's a TN panel. Now, before you just want to take a huge steaming dump on the fact that it's a TN panel, understand that I've seen a lot of laptop screens, and yes, for the most part, TN panels are terrible, but this one is very good. I've seen another laptop, it was the MSI Raiders. Those also have a TN panel, which are also really good. But this is 120 hertz, but it's 5 milliseconds, so it's very fast response time. And when you're playing shooters, it feels like you're playing on a high-end desktop monitor. It's just a really nice looking screen. The visuals are good, the colors pop, everything looks really smooth. And unfortunately, you're watching this video at 24 frames per second, so you can't see the full 120 frames per second, but it is a really impressive looking screen. Now, there's two kind of issues to this thing. First, it doesn't have G-Sync, and that's not something that I'm not worried about it, but I feel like on paper, some people might be upset by it because there are other laptops that do have 120 hertz panels that do support G-Sync. But I mean, this screen blows most screens out of the water just because of how quick the response rate is. Now, depending on how you run your games, this may or may not affect you. And I think that kind of leads to the next question of the fact that this laptop is only running a GTX 1060. And this makes this laptop very niche of a product. And okay, let me explain. I think a lot of people are gonna look at this and be like, why does this thing only have a GTX 1060? Why don't they put a 1070 or even a 1080 in it? Forget about the heating issues and all that stuff, but you would think that a laptop with a 120 hertz, 5 millisecond screen should have like a really high-end graphics card in it, right? And I would agree, but if you're looking at the price point, you want to be able to supply a laptop for people that are really hardcore, like competitively into games. And if you look at any competitive gaming, they're always running their stuff at the lowest graphic settings because they just want the highest frame rate possible. And when you do that on this laptop, if you take any of the competitive shooter games like, I don't know, Overwatch, CSGO, If you run those games at even high graphics settings, you're already above that target of 120 frames per second. So yeah, you could put a 1070 or try to put a 1080 in here, but a lot of those frames would just be wasted because you're not even able to see it, and the person who's buying this doesn't want super high graphics quality. That's just not what this was for. So if that's what you're in the market for, if you want to play Witcher 3 at like 10,000 frames per second, this is not that laptop. But if you're looking to be slightly more competitive in your first-person shooter games, this is a great pickup. It's not cheap, but I think of all the laptops that I've seen for people that are really hardcore about a particular shooter, this is a really, really good one. Okay, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thumbs if you liked it, subs if you loved it. See you guys next time.